right, everyone. Hello. Welcome. Welcome, willkommen. Missed the internet, missed uploading my consciousness into the digital realms. Hope that you guys have been well. Happy lunar eclipse that we're having in Libra, happening right now. I'm hopping on real quick to give you a little bit of mood of this week. I am going to go on Patreon after this and do an all signs breakdown for all 12 zodiac signs. And in addition to that, we're also going to open up with the tarot. Did I forget to do this? I did. I always do this. Also, this is a Mercury retrograde shadow moment. So, guys, I've been trying to get on for so long, and I'm finally on right now. So, okay. Anyway, so basically, there is the lunar eclipse happening Monday. We're in it right now, and I'm a fan. All right, I'm a fan. I'm gonna jump around a little bit, but basically, I'm a fan. I'm a real fan of this one. So, just a little bit of housekeeping before we continue to dive in deeper about this week ahead. Changes to the Patreon. April is going to be free. April is free. So anyone that wants to try out the new mood, go ahead and jump on. This is the time to do it. And I'll go over the changes right now, actually. So here's what we're experimenting with. So right now we're live streaming on YouTube. We're talking about the Libra eclipse. I'm going to talk about the highlights for me that are kind of exciting for me to look forward to in this week ahead. And then I'm going to go on Patreon and we're going to do the breakdown for all 12 zodiac signs, and we're going to add the tarot. This deck, I'm still obsessed with the pulp deck. I'm still obsessed. It still feels so good. Then we're going to do that for all of our weeklies. So it's a wonderful benefit because now you don't have to wait. Before I would do like 2 or 3 weeklies for the zodiac signs, and then even if you watch for your sun, moon, rising, you might be waiting a couple of days for like your sign. So now you're going to have it all one video. We're going to timestamp. You're going to be able to just go right ahead to your sun, moon, risings for the week ahead at one point. Doing that's all under the 1111 tier. Then we're going to do Capricorn on Wednesdays, and then on Saturdays we're going to do remote viewing classes, and that'll be under the second tier, 2222. We're also going to do the monthly overview journals, the retrograde journals, and I'm adding a special remote viewing journal. So we're only doing those 2 tiers. I haven't made the adjustments yet on Patreon, and I'm still talking to Patreon about certain things. So I'm like making it like free for a month. So basically it's very simplified. There's just going to be the 2 tiers. Only 2 tiers. It's only going to ever be 1111 or 2222. You're going to get everything for your week that you're in before. Actually, a little bit more because you're going to be getting the astrology for your particular zodiac sign. You're going to be getting Capricorn on Wednesdays. And then the only other tier, the 2222 per month, is going to get you the remote viewing. That is something I'm really, really passionate about. And I love training people in remote viewing. It's a lot of fun. So that's basically the simplified version. I'm also going to be launching, I'm not launching it yet, but I will be launching a telekinesis kinetic project. This is a spiritual project I am more than just passionate about. And that's why I'm shifting everything else, the marketing agency, the Patreon, clients, personal clients, my private practice, I'm changing all of it around to accommodate the telekinesis side project. I'm so sorry. Let me just respond to this text. Thank you very much. I appreciate your understanding. And the only thing with that, and I'm still going to be working this out throughout the month of April, I'm not going to be launching it on a Mercury retrograde, is because let's see what happens with TikTok. Where am I going to make it its home? I'm not going to make the same mistake I did when I just randomly started uploading YouTube videos, and then people started asking me for readings, and it was very unorganized. It was not structured, and I couldn't really handle it. It was really difficult. So I'm going to do it better this time around before I start really showing showing that. So I'm excited. I'm really excited for this telekinesis project. So I might maybe do like a free Patreon for that. I don't know where I'm gonna host the videos, like, so that's just something that's kind of percolating and I want to share with you guys in this Mercury retrograde shadow period. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the mood of this week. So we have this very, like, how do I put this? Full moon lunar eclipses are always going to be shining a big bright light on something. And in the sign of Libra, you're going to see what is going to give you so much more balance in some way, shape, or form, and what has been out of place or out of balance. And that could, of course, be in relationships, but it's really mental. It's really in your mind. Like something is going to bother you. It's going to bother you mentally that this isn't right, or this is out of place, or this doesn't belong here, or this is like, And I would just say, because Libra is very heady, be very careful of sort of thinking that something has to change. You feel like there is a big change coming. There is, this and that, and you're feeling all this pressure, but you don't know what to do, and this and that. That's eclipse energy. So we're in the eclipse portal, and we're going to be going through it the next couple of weeks. And how I would say it is, if something is going to happen, it's going to happen. And you always, with astrology, with belief systems, with relationships, with anything in life, it's life itself. Every moment is what you make it. Absolutely 100% true. Always bring yourself back to that, because it will help empower you instead of just like checking your transits in astrology, wondering what's going to happen. Okay. Hello, welcome. So, you definitely want to beware of like if you here's the thing. This Libra eclipse, yes, you're going to be feeling like, I have to make this right. I finally have to tell someone, I can't go on like this. I'm not comfortable with this anymore. I was doing this to make you happy, but I'm just really suffering, and I need to do this for my own personal happiness. Or you're overcoming some kind of personal thing. But on the other hand, life is going to show you your unique U-shaped life is going to show you what's right for you, what's meant for you. It's going to feel right. It's going to think right. It's going to play out right. And it just might shuffle everything else in your life in a way that makes you uncomfortable, or kind of freaks you out, or is a little bit scary. So some of you are going to be the agents of change. Some of you are also going to be in response to other people making changes in their lives. So if you forgot that you borrowed money from someone, and they call you up and say, "Hey, I need to get that back now." If an ex is calling you with something, or whatever it is, try not to be overly reactive or defensive, or take it so personally, and just try to elevate your thinking to think as objectively as possible, and seeing what is fair. Okay, I see their point. From that perspective, I can see how you think that or feel that. And finding that balance, finding that equanimity, finding that fairness is going to be the name of the game at this time. And it's going to possibly bring up something that was initiated or started around October of 2023, when we have the solar eclipse in the sign of Libra. So those themes are coming to a close. So maybe it's certain situations or relationships that are culminating, issues in relationships, or issues with money, issues with value. I'm calling this week elevating the love, because of something Venus is doing. But in any case, you are 100% the one who's responsible for making the most of it. You have to make the most of it. Don't give it all away to some, transit, or putting all the power in someone else's hands. Well, because you don't do this, I'm feeling a certain way. Because you do this, I can't feel a certain way. So it's really because of the Aries emphasis, the Mercury retrograde in Aries, the North Node Chiron stuff in Aries, all of that's, hey, welcome. Shabbat Shalom. I can't believe you, Jake. Oh my gosh, Shabbat Shalom. Okay, so I can't. That's just too funny. It's so distracting. So Shabbat Shalom. Or what? I Libra eclipse. So wherever whatever's going on, you got to make the most of it. Okay, you got to make the most of it. The Aries emphasis, the North Node being in Aries, like guys, I remember like last April when we were still transferring over from the eclipses in Taurus, Scorpio, but that April freaking eclipse, whew, the writing was on the wall. Hey Troy, welcome. And I know I do my like Pisces midheaven thing where I'm like, poof, I'm gone, and then poof, here I am. Like I know I do that, but I'm gonna be back. All right, I'm back, and you're gonna be seeing a lot more. I checked my and I'm like at 11,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's definitely because of the shorts, the YouTube shorts. So I'm gonna be doing more into the YouTube shorts for that, and then I'll be doing more TikToks. I'm really just needing to figure out how and where to put a home for the telekinesis stuff. If something happens to TikTok, and then am I going to handle if it gets popular? How am I going to protect it, and how am I going to create and sustain the community around that? That's going to be, the best for everyone, very Libra minded. And so that's why I'm kind of just holding off on trying to get any more attention on that. I just want to make sure that I'm not making the same mistake twice. When I just randomly started uploading tarot videos to YouTube, like 2019, and so I make sure that I'm doing it right, and so I have to figure it out. Anyway, so this week, Monday, is the lunar eclipse in Libra. There's something you're doing the same thing about, trying to figure out, like, okay, how do I make this fair for everyone? How do I make this the best little thing for everyone? How do I, how do I make this work for everyone and everything in my life? And you're going to be figuring it out. And so this is going to be bringing in some answers from universe, sure, but even then, you have to make the best of it. You have to make the most of it. And then with you, things are going to be really obvious. And then some things you're still going to be trying to figure out, how does this work? How am I going to make this work? And hold off, because I'm usually not a fan of when eclipses happen like this, when it's a lunar eclipse and then a solar eclipse. I'm a fan of when there's a solar eclipse and then there's a lunar eclipse, because at this time, there's things ending, culminating, there's a fullness, there's culminations and endings, and some doors closing that are never to be opened ever again. You can't go back, and then you might feel a little bit lost or in a daze, or like you're meandering, like you're twisting in the wind until the solar eclipse reaches you, and then there's like a new beginning, then there's like the new start, and then there's the new thing that's like, okay, great, that's the new thing, that's really where I belong, or that's what I'm going to do, or that's what's going on. And so don't worry if you feel a little bit meandering the next couple of weeks. It's okay, don't worry about it. Make the most of it. It's your responsibility to make the most of it. It's not up to Venus, it's not up to who else would it be up to? It's not up to Jupiter to make your life informed and empowered to do the next thing. Do the next thing that you've got to do, instead of feeling stuck, instead of feeling lost, instead of feeling held up, instead of feeling like you're in between a rock and a hard place. So this is the time when the scales get righted and justice happens. I have missed you all. I know, I've missed you guys. I always miss you guys when I'm like, doing my little Pisces magic trick. So I'm happy to be back, and to build everything up in the new way, to take us into the new era. And thank you guys so much for, understanding. I appreciate you. I appreciate every single one of you. I love you to pieces. Something happened over the weekend where I'm like, man, I do belong, like, on the internet. I do. And so I'm happy to be back, and I'll be excited for the YouTube shorts and for, stuff and more live streams and stuff like that. So don't be like, yeah, that's another thing. Like, don't be afraid of the new iteration. If people are feeling frustrated, and this is the Mercury retrograde part of like this eclipse, feeling frustrated over this next week, that's Mercury shadow. It's almost like when you try to put a USB into the socket and you're like having a heart attack because it's not fitting, it's not going in. That's like Mercury retrograde, and you just losing your top over like, oh my God, it's not going in. This is a USB. This is a USB. Why isn't it happening? But then after the cycle, you're like, oh my God, I just had to turn it over, and now it's going in. You know, so if you're trying to like force things to work, like I've been trying to get on and live stream for like ever, but tech issues, and so it's not meant to work as you expected it to work, because there's a better way, or there's a more ingenious way, or there's going to be something that's just going to be working better. So we're going to be possibly potentially a little frustrated this week because old systems, regular systems may not work anymore. And you might be freaking out like, hey, this system's supposed to work. It's worked in the past. Why isn't it working now? And you have to update it. You have to reinvent it. You have to elevate it. And that's really what it is. And that's this eclipse, is that the old way of doing it isn't going to cut it in the new age, with new ideas, with new people, with new situations, with, you know, it's just not. So don't try to force it. Aries energy gets so frustrated. So try to keep all of that line. I'm just going, I have to get my hair done. So I'll do it. It'll happen. So whatever is maybe frustrating this week, it's going to just take some time to unspool and play out. So whether it's relationally, communications, this is the time to go back and to rework things, to go back and make something better, to go back and improve upon something, especially deals and agreements and understandings. We have this understanding. You're absolutely right, and we need to update this to include new information, to include new revelations, to include because people grow and change, and that's just part of evolution, and that's a happy, good, positive thing, that people grow and people change. It's a beautiful thing that people change. Celebrate it. You know, I think one of the most romantic things about couples is that they grow and change alongside each other. Is that, you know, they're together, but they're like separate but together. You know, it's a little bit too codependent to wrap the whole thing around together and say, well, you can't grow. I'm not ready yet. You know, come down with me and stay with me in this freaking mire, you know? So that's another thing that's ending at this time in the next couple of weeks is codependencies. And it's not even codependent relationships, but it's being dependent on someone who's codependent. And you might be looking at someone like, you're codependent on me, and it's not the case. It's the case, but you're codependent on someone else being codependent on you. And you have to kind of answer to that and look at it and say, I'm ready to not be dependent on this person that's dependent on me. I'm done being the hero in their story, and I want what's best for them, and that's for them to be the hero in their story, you know, or whatever happens to be. So the elevation of love that I see, it has a lot of that element to it. So today, Sunday, the 24th, Venus in Pisces sextiles Jupiter. It should be coming into like a better focus now, because now I'm like leaning back. Jupiter in Taurus. And I'm calling this kind of like just like spoil yourself. Like it's just so indulgent and feels so good. I've been on this terrible kick where I've been eating like 2 Snicker bars a day. I was sick this whole like Wednesday to like yesterday. It was gross. It was so gross. I don't want to talk about it. But today on Sunday, it's happy, it's light, it's fluffy, it's like I said, kind of indulgent. Spoil yourself, spoil others, spoil your cats and dogs and your plants and your little geckos. Give them extra cricket, you know, whatever's going on, whatever you're doing. So, okay, tomorrow is the technical eclipse moment, and it's a shedding. It's very much, I feel like, a shedding of ego, mental ego, vanity, petty competing, because that could be the dark side of Libra as well. Codependency to, um, I would say, I would say the I would say the codependency that keeps the old systems in place, where it's like, well, you can't leave or grow because this is working for everybody. You can't leave or grow because this is what's best for everybody, because this is what's best for the relationship. You know, and it's like, well, wait a minute there. Let's just wait a little minute there. Um, yeah, yeah, okay. So make the best of everything, of every moment. The astrology will give you the weather, the mood, and you have to use it. You make the best of it, and you take responsibility, and you really own it. You own your attitude, and just safeguard your attitude. Don't lose your attitude, because when you do, then you succumb to the winds of the cosmos, the weather of the universe, you know, and it's, you're going to feel even more out of control, or you're going to feel like life is even more out of control. So I love Libra energy for the mind and for the strategy and for thinking about what's best for everyone. But one of the downfalls of Libra is that it'll sacrifice much of itself for the peace of everyone, for the sake of everything. And so, you know, be honest with yourself. And at a time like this, with a full moon penumbral lunar eclipse in Libra, yeah, you got to be honest with yourself. You can't ignore it anymore. It's going to be like right in front of you, like, this is it, this is the thing, you know, and you're going to be feeling either pressure to make a change, or the change is happening and you're getting the pressure to respond to it. So, that's Monday. But I would look forward to a resolution of stuff from October 2023. That's going to feel good, right? That's going to feel amazing. So, and then on Thursday, the 28th of this week, Venus in Pisces sextiles Uranus in Taurus. Your intuition drives dependable spontaneity. So following your intuition is going to drive the right kind of spontaneity that's going to benefit you and help you elevate love. Now, Venus is not just love, it's also values, and it's also money and finances and comforts and what feels good and attraction. And this is a very Elizabeth Taylor type energy. But I like Thursday. I like the later half of the week because you get that opportunity to elevate. Now, if you don't make the most of it, it's not going to feel like an opportunity to elevate. Maybe something happens and you don't like it, and you just go eat an entire box of something by yourself and get a stomach ache, and it's not the greatest turn of events. That's sort of unexpected. It could end up being really nice if you kind of take hold of it and you're like, oh, this is unexpected, but I'm gonna roll with it. I'm gonna see where it goes. I'm gonna give it a chance. So I like the later half of the week. I like the beginning half of the week. All you really need to do is keep in mind to stay hydrated and take good care of yourself, and not be afraid at this time to advocate for yourself, because the moon is only going to reflect the light of the sun, which is in Aries, and showing you where you need to be brave, where you need to be an individual, where you are empowered to stand alone on your own and walk your own special path. Aries has a special destiny, and it's one of the pioneer that has to figure things out for themselves. And no one can do that work for you. No, even if you're like in a business partnership or in a marriage, or you're really close to the family member, that other person cannot take those steps for you, internalize the experience, and then like give it to you. You've got to take those steps on your own. You cannot take those steps for somebody else either. That's taking an experience away from them. That's taking a perspective away from them. It's taking a choice away from them. And there are karmic consequences to that, making choices for other people and not letting them make their own decisions. That's a karmic consequence. So the moon in Libra is really bright and showing you something of what needs to end so that that individuation can happen, so that that individuation, that bravery, that courage, that strength, going your own way can happen. And that's part of what this Chiron in Aries is helping us to heal. And when I say heal, I mean feel better about something that didn't feel good before. And in the way that it didn't feel good, we felt shame or awkwardness about it, and maybe some kind of confusion about just feeling like, oh, I don't have it in me to go on my own way. I can't afford to do it on my own. I don't believe in myself that I can do it without this other person or without this system or without this structure or without this, resource, or without this thing. And so that's why Aries, I feel like, is very special, because it's saying, I'm going to give it a freaking try. I'm going to go and I'm going to do it. I'm going to try. And I fucking love that about you people. Like, I love that. I have my Mars in Aries, but I love that about Aries, is like, you'll try. I'm going to believe in myself. I'm going to just go and try it. And I'm going to do it. I can do it on my own. Watch me, and the adventure, when you make that decision, when you honor that desire, is worth its weight in gold. And like I said, no one can give that to you. No one can have that experience for you. It has to be risks that you take in your own life to say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to do it. And I think it's exciting. I have Venus in Sag, trining my Mars in Aries. I think it's so exciting. I love the adventure. I'm very risk tolerant, so I'm always going to go for it. I'm always going to say, oh, I'm going to do it on my own. All right, fine. You don't want to be with me? All right, fine. All right. Watch me. But not everyone's like that. So I love this energy for ending anything holding anybody back about that, where you get to actually just sort of say, like, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go for it. And we're gonna leave this right here, and there I go, because it's exciting, and you should be excited for the adventure. Not just, okay, so it's not like everyone's gonna break up and go their own separate ways. Some people, when it really is the mood, when it really is the vibe, we're going to see some power couples. Like, this year and a half of these eclipses and these signs are definitely, we're going to see really strong, independent, singular, iconic type individuals. And we're also going to see absolutely majestic power couples. But I feel like it won't be the past power couples. It won't be predicated on, when I say power couple, it doesn't have to just mean like romantic. I'm talking about like business partnerships, romantic partnerships. There could be something that's like odd about it, or unique, or surprising, or sort of captivating about the people that are aligning together and forming these alliances where you're like, they're together? What? Get out of here. It's like, so yeah, I don't want to focus on like the breakups and stuff, because like, sure, but the people that do like line up, they are going to be, it's the vibe, it's the mood, it's what's happening. And it's a very faded time right now. Okay, it's also very karmic and very faded. So, the ones that are kind of coming together are definitely, it's kind of special. It is kind of special, very, very kind of unique. So but like I said, I would just, like, I'm holding off on my telekinesis project, and I'm not launching it. I'm not doing a soft launch until like after April, after the end of April. Same thing. Like, if you can hold off, unless things are really happening to you, unless the contract is on the desk in front of you, unless things are happening very organically and the universe is saying, okay, this is supposed to happen for both of you right now, and like, da 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 da, then feel the pressure of like, okay, this is what I'm meant to do. And then plan and let more information come through. Let more come to light. Let your own like revelations come up. Let your own ideas percolate. Let your own feelings come up. And give yourself the time over this next month. So, and especially over this next week. We're only just talking about this week ahead. 30 minutes. Good. Okay. So that's really what I want to say. I'm just focusing on the ruler of this eclipse, Venus, for this week, because that's what's going to be really upfront and in your face. So take a look at where you've got Libra in your chart, Pisces in your chart, Taurus in your chart. These are some interesting areas of activation. And whatever's going on, whatever's happening, you've got to make the best of it. You've got to make the most of it. Don't look to see like, oh my God, what's going to happen to me next? I know it's so tempting. But I'm thinking about the projects I have coming up of what I'm going to be like teaching and stuff. And it's going to be much more taking ownership of the astrological energies in a way that is not just informative, but applicable. Okay. I love you guys immensely. Take very good care. I'm going to hop on Patreon, back on the Patreon. I was on a vacay for like a couple weeks, and so I'm going to be back on. And I'm going to be breaking this down this week for all 12 zodiac signs. And we will also be doing tarot, our weekly tarot readings for all 12 zodiac signs. So if you guys want to try it, April is free, absolutely free. So save my link down below in the description box. It is a lean, mean new system that I've got for the Patreon. Like I said, let me pull it up again. Like I said, we're going to be doing live streams for all zodiac signs for the weeklies on Sunday. And then on Wednesday, we're going to be doing Capricorn, which is a special additional tarot reading for Capricorns, sun signs, moon signs, rising signs. And then on Saturdays, we're going to be doing remote viewing classes. Yes, every single Saturday. And you're going to be getting the remote viewing journal, the retrograde journals, the monthly overview journals in the second tier. There will only be 2 tiers on Patreon coming up. Try it for free in the month of April. See how you like it. I'm going to be getting your feedback. It's going to be just 11/11, 22/22. Okay, that's a couple of fancy cups of coffee. Try it out. See like, okay, this is definitely worth it. Then stay on for the next month. It's going to be fun. I'm really excited about it. I'm also, like I said, going to be putting together my telekinesis project, my spiritual passion like side project that'll be launching after April. Trying to figure out what's going to go on with TikTok and where I'm going to be hosting the videos. And it still needs to come together. So it'll have its home. It'll have its own little ecosystem, its own little thing. That'll be like a whole separate thing. And other than that, my loves, I look forward to seeing you later this week in the YouTube shorts. Take very good care. Until next time, my lovelies, many beautiful blessings upon all of your beautiful heads.